Hello, my name is Navigator. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a little St. Patrick's Day weekend Central New York toy haul. That's what CNY stands for, of course. On the thumbnail there, I don't know if I'm going to throw in the title. We'll see, probably. I don't know, but as you saw with the title, I do have a first appearance LARFLEEZE somewhere hidden in here, but we have a couple other things we're going to get to first, but that's really the big highlight of this. LARFLEEZE, over the summer, guys, you know that I was building up my DC Universe collection, and I have a video going over, oh man, what's his name? St. Walker and LARFLEEZE, a review of those two figures, and I go over my LARFLEEZE obsession in there. So if you really want to know, you can go check that out. But getting the first appearance of LARFLEEZE, Green Lantern number 25 from 2006 is a huge thing for me. But before that, couple other things to go over. So the first big thing here, I'm just going to get it out of the way. This is actually going to be a, what do they call it? My own creation. So an MOC, a Lego MOC of Sharp. And you guys know that I'm a big fan of Sharp. I made a video recently talking about a 12-inch 95th rifles or Sharp figure that I got, and I've gone over some other stuff. But Sharp is a famous British drama series following Major Richard Sharp during the Napoleonic Wars. And there's not really a lot of collectibles, not really a lot of toys, but I did recently find at Joe D's Comic Show some 95th Rifles custom Lego figures. You can see my review of those figures along with everything else I got there. If you scroll back, it was like a week or two ago that I went there. But what I decided to do was make what do you call it, like a deserters outpost attack kind of thing. So the idea is there's this kind of dilapidated little building here that these deserters, and in the Sharp, I guess movie series, show series, whatever you want to call it, there was an episode where a bunch of kind of like Spanish and French and British deserters had all kind of teamed together. So that was the idea that I have here. I've got some kind of like French soldiers in there, some British soldiers, and then I have Sharp and Harper over here kind of plotting on how they're going to attack. And I do plan on getting some more 95th Rifles figures to make out the rest of the Chosen Men. I think I probably need to get 4 more, and I should be getting those at Syracuse Collectors Con, which is coming up here in 2 weeks. So shout out to my friend Sean and his dad for hooking me up with those, but I'm kind of foreshadowing there. So once again, a little my own creation of Sharp, or the Deserters Outpost Attack, as I'm going to call it, but I will be adding more to this, not size-wise, but just more minifigures. But I'm going to get this out of the way. It is a tad bit fragile, I won't have to say, but I want to say a massive shout-out to Bricks and Minifigs in Cicero, New York, for letting me just kind of go, well, I mean, anybody can do this, but it was really cool. I had this idea, I guess if I'm going to talk about it, I got to bring it back in here, but I had an idea. I had the minifigures. I didn't have anything else, and I wanted to make something of it. So I was able to go in there. This base plate I got for $3. The mountains back here I bought separately. And then there's these massive bins you can just dig through of pieces. So I was able to go through there and find all the individual pieces to build all this up. Even more so, you actually have to break it all down, put it into a cup, and then it gets like weighed or counted. I think it's counted, or like if you, how much Legos you can fit in this size cup, that's how much you're paying for it. So I had to deconstruct it and then put it all back together, and it was still just really fun to do that. You guys can probably hear my dogs barking in the background. I apologize, but massive shout out to them. It's such an awesome story. I can go in with an idea and make it possible using the Legos that they have there. So massive shout out to Bricks and Minifigs in Cicero, New York. All right. A couple other things to get to. So I stopped by Michael's today. I am building out my A Real American Hero shelf. So I wanted to get some like kind of, it doesn't really look like concrete, but it was the closest I could find, some kind of like concrete or stone. And then I wanted to get some sand as well. I'm going to kind of split it up, have like a little bit of like a beach, and then you go into like an action area. But I will show that off when I do my shelf display video on that, which will be coming very soon. And I should do that for all my shelves, to be honest. But we have those as well. All right, before we get to the comics, another big shout out to Blast from the Past Toys and Comics. I was actually able to meet up with the owner earlier today and pick up some A Real American Hero G.I. Joes. Give me 1 second, folks. I'm going to close this door. My dogs are going crazy, and there's no need for you guys to be hearing all that. Maybe you can, but I can. It's distracting. So, A Real American Hero G.I. Joes that I picked up in person. He actually met me there. And I got some really awesome figures. So let's take a look at what we got. First up here, what's his name? Taurus from Sergeant Slaughter's Marauders. I just thought that was a really cool figure. He almost looks like a Dreadnought, but he's not. And that was super cool. Got him for $15. What else do we have here? Wakando for $20. I'm a big fan of how Wakando looks, so that was really cool. Very fun to get him. I think that's his normal variant, not the Tiger. Or is it the Tiger Force variant? I think that is the Tiger Force variant. I forget. But next up here, what a major acquisition. We have the 1984 Duke figure. I'm not sure if this is like it does say V1, so I'm going to have to do some research, but it's really cool. to have an original Duke here for only 20 bucks. That was really sweet. So we got Duke, the leader, I guess you could say, of the G.I. Joes. Another big favorite of mine, we have Falcon here for 25, and it looks like he comes with most of his accessories except for the gun, but he does have the backpack and the knife, so that is really cool. I love Falcon. Love the World War II look of him, Vietnam War look of him. Super sweet. And then another enemy here, more Joes than enemies this time, but we do have, let's see if I can get the price tag off of him. Might be somewhat difficult, but Crystal Ball. And he, actually, I have a review of Crystal Ball. Maybe not Falcon, but actually, no, I definitely do have Falcon on there, right? Do I have Falcon? I think I do. I don't know, I forget. But I definitely have a review of Crystal Ball, the Retro Duke, Wakando, and then they haven't made a classified version of him, but I have reviews of most of these guys in classified version as well, if you are curious about that. But now it's going to be all the G.I. Joes. Once again, shout out to Blast from the Past Toys and Comics. Their physical location is located inside the Mohawk Antique Mall in Mohawk/Herkimer, New York. All right, some literature before we get to, actually, I'll get to the comics. We'll end with that. So, from Comics Galore in North Syracuse, New York, we did get Green Lantern number 25, the first appearance of LARFLEEZE, along with a bunch of other Green Lantern Corps, prominent people, or prominent characters, I should say. But that is really cool. As you guys know, I'm slowly completing this collection, or this series, along with Jonah Hex 1977. Those are probably my two most sought-after collections. I'm trying to do the whole thing, and then I'm going to read through them. But this is really sweet. So, an awesome comic to add to the collection. And then another one that I've been eyeing for a while, and I was kind of like, I'm not picking it up to read it, but I did pick up this, I think it's the variant cover, maybe. It's cover A, I should say, of G.I. Joe 325. This is the G.I. Joe Real American Hero comic series from Image Comics, and I just love this cover. You have all of the main crew of the G.I. Joe: Snake Eyes, Duke, Scarlet, I'm assuming Roadblock, Hawk, Lady Jane, Tunnel Rat, Rock and Roll. I think that's all. These are like some of the heaviest hitters, and I just love this cover with all of them there. You have the 25th milestone on there. It just sounds perfect. 325 is a decent number. It's not like, I don't know, like 621 or just like some weird odd number. I don't know, that number just is aesthetic for some reason. But this is also the apparent first appearance of two new G.I. Joes. I believe it's Downrange or Long Range and RC, so that is still pretty cool. And I don't know, I might just like throw this up in one of my G.I. Joe collections, just as like a little background, but I just thought that was a really cool comic. And I actually got this from Funky Town Comics and Vinyls in Cicero, New York, their new location. And it was only $4, so decent price for a comic. I mean, obviously that's the cover price, but still, decent price. And Funky Town's new location, once again, Funky Town Comics and Vinyl in Cicero, New York, their new location is really cool. Definitely be sure to go check that out. And their old location is reopening next week, I believe. So, some other literature, Retro Games Con here, May 16th and 17th, the spring edition. This is always a great event in Syracuse. It seems like the venue changed to the On Center. So that is pretty sweet. We also have Ithacon here. Quite the racy promotion, I guess, but I grabbed this at, Collectibles Galore. So there you go. If you guys are interested in Ithacon, I'm going to try to head down there. We'll see what happens. I don't really get down to Ithaca too much. What else? CNY Bricks. I think it's a sticker, like a QR code or something. But if you're interested in more Lego stuff, CNY Bricks. What else do we have here? Antiques West. I actually grabbed this at the Eclectic Chic yesterday. They had a card show. Didn't end up getting anything, but I got some literature, and this is Antiques West. They had some comics and cool collectibles and cards, so there you go. You can check them out in Syracuse, New York. What else? We have Geek Art Con, and this is going to be at Syracuse University, April 19th. A whole bunch of cosplay and tabletop, and who knows, but Geek Art Con, so that is still pretty cool. I'll try to swing out there, see what's going on. I'll try to hit all these up. And then finally here, an event from today, another event. So aside from getting the G.I. Joes, I also stopped by Ravenswood Comics in New Hartford, New York. They had a live comic auction. I was only able to I got there when they were like halfway through, but they had a bunch of lots of delinquent subscriber comics that were up for sale for some pretty low prices. I saw people getting away with like $10, $11 with comics, and that was pretty sweet. So shout out to Ravenswood for doing that, and they should be doing more of these very soon with some old comics, so that was very nice, and I'll keep you guys posted on when that is happening. So, quick review. We'll get the literature, the comics back in here. G.I. Joe, Real American Hero number 325, Green Lantern number 25. Oh man, Wakando, Duke, Taurus, Falcon, and Crystal Ball G.I. Joe Classified. some stuff for, a Real American Hero, not classified. Some stuff for my classified shelf, and then of course, I might as well grab it. Hell, we're already stretching on 10 minutes here. My MOC Deserters Outpost Attack. Shout out to Bricks and Minifigs in Cicero, North Syracuse, New York. Collectibles galore in North Syracuse, New York. Oh man, Funky Town Comics and Vinyl in Cicero, New York. What else? Blast from the Past Toys and Comics located at the Mohawk Antique Mall in Mohawk/Herkimer, New York. Ravenswood Comics, and every single person that has ever existed. Why not? We'll throw them in there too. All right, folks, enjoy your week. This is my last video for the weekend, and then we're starting the week of, March 16th. I'm just talking to talk. I'm going to leave it there. As always, my name is Navigator. Have a nice day. Take care.